What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a concept bouncing around within the Call of Duty community that's been going on for a pretty decent amount of time now that a ton of people really do believe would fix everything, every issue, every problem, every possible scenario that we have right now within Call of Duty, the whole franchise. This would single-handedly resolve the whole scenario. And believe it or not, it's actually happening within Modern Warfare 3. I didn't think it was happening within Modern Warfare 3, but apparently behind the scenes, yes, indeed, this is going to be how this game is handled. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive deep, if you do enjoy what you hear today, you want to hear some more Call of Duty content or X-Defiant content, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell, and of course, we will be streaming probably some GTA today over on Kick, so if you guys want to catch those vibes, don't forget. I have the link to my Kick channel along with all my other socials down in the description of this video. Now, basically what I'm talking about is having multiple different development teams working on different segments of the game. Now, we have seen this before. We've seen, I think Modern Warfare 2, for example, had, all the development teams working on that title. But, as we see now, it didn't turn out too fantastic. But one thing that the whole community wanted to see is the three development teams, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, and Treyarch, working on one game together, but all on different segments. Not trying to combine all their efforts to, work across the whole field, the whole game, and trying to design everything. No, having one team specifically, focus on one thing, the other team specifically focusing on the other thing, so on and so forth. And that's apparently what we're getting with Modern Warfare 3 right now. As you can see from Rouse Valve, Modern Warfare 3 studios are contributing solely to what makes them each unique. Treyarch is working on zombies, Sledgehammer Games is working on multiplayer, and Infinity Ward is working on campaign. At first, I'll be honest, when I heard Modern Warfare 3 is coming out, I really did think that Infinity Ward had nothing to do with this game. I thought Sledgehammer was putting together the campaign on top of putting together the multiplayer, and then Treyarch was going to go ahead and, scrap something together for zombies. But apparently from the very start of this game, even though it basically is DLC, but from the very start, they're specifically designating each development team to their own category. And this confirms what everybody has been wanting to see for a long time. Yes, we're going to have each development team basically working on their specialty. Now, I will say, I really wish Treyarch worked on multiplayer a bit more. I think that would be nice. But if we're really thinking about the future of these games, maybe it's going to be bounced around. Maybe for this game right here, it'll be Sledgehammer working on multiplayer, Infinity Ward on campaign, and then Treyarch on, zombies. The next game Treyarch puts out, maybe Treyarch will be working on, hopefully campaign and multiplayer. I don't know how that, this is what I'm really debating about. If that's how they're handling this game, is this going to be a permanent move? Because if it does stay for the future, how are the development teams going to balance this around? Because I don't think Sledgehammer's always going to be doing multiplayer, and Infinity Ward's always going to be doing campaign, and Treyarch is always going to be doing zombies. Like when Treyarch comes out with their own game, I'm assuming they're making campaign. Are they going to make the foundation for multiplayer? Maybe Sledgehammer will support the multiplayer, and then, Infinity Ward might come in with their, I don't know what the balance is going to be like. But at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't really matter about the future. What matters is we will finally be able to test out if this is going to be a good thing for the overall community. Again, it's been a concept. It's been something that we have been all pondering for a very long time now, wondering if it's actually something that would save the franchise, if we would actually see a good game if the teams, instead of, trying to make a full game, just focus on what makes them good. And if you really think down to the core, these teams are placed pretty nicely in Modern Warfare 3. I'm not defending the game whatsoever, but if we're going to be realistic here, Infinity Ward does fantastic on their campaigns. Dare I say they make some of the best campaigns that you could possibly imagine. Treyarch does a phenomenal job with zombies. I mean, they're the ones who introduced zombies to the overall franchise. It's their baby. So I think, honestly, they should have full right over, reigning supreme when it comes to zombies. And Sledgehammer Games, they're the development team that communicates the most with their community. And that is very crucial for a multiplayer experience because, in Call of Duty, when they release a game and we don't like it, usually we're just left to die. We're left in the dust. But when it comes to Sledgehammer, yeah, even though they've made a lot of placeholder games like Vanguard and, Modern Warfare 3 that we're seeing right here, at the end of the day, their games are still hyper-focused around what the community asked for. In Vanguard, even though there were still a few problems, they compromised, Instead of not having any working minimap, they gave you a perk to work with the minimap so you can have red dots on it, The movement was a little bit more smooth. They still kept slide canceling, but they took away what everybody hated about it, which basically was, the feature that allowed you to regen your tac sprint from slide canceling, so you couldn't do that in Vanguard. They added in perks that people wanted to see, like, Dead Silence or Ninja, whatever you want to call it. The doors and stuff were destructible. so on and so forth. They took the changes that we wanted from Modern Warfare 2019, which Infinity Ward refused to do, and they changed it for us in Vanguard. And then Modern Warfare 3 is coming along, and it's the same thing. All the changes that we hated in Modern Warfare 2, the movement, the pacing, how slow you are when it comes to attachments, or just your basic guns in general. Everything. Everybody's complaining about the map designs, even though that's not one of my complaints. I thought the maps were pretty good in Modern Warfare 2 2022. I know, strike me down, but it is what it is. But at the end of the day, everything that the community has complained about with Modern Warfare 2 is being resolved with Modern Warfare 3. So, again, I think Sledgehammer is placed correctly here, Allow Infinity Ward to make the DLC for the campaign that they made in Modern Warfare 2. They can do that perfectly fine. And allow Sledgehammer Games to fix up everything that we wanted to see in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer to make it actually good. And then Treyarch is going to go ahead and hyper-focus on zombies to at least give us some type of experience. It's not guaranteed. I will say the trailer for zombies was the best trailer I've seen so far for Modern Warfare 3. But at the end of the day, nothing guarantees that it's going to turn out good. But I'll be real. I am curious. I don't want to say excited, but I am curious to see how this is going to pan out. Because like I said in the beginning of this video, this is something that we have anticipated for a long time now, something that we have been speculating about and, thinking about and making commentary topics and, discussing with our friends and family. It's been something that we have always wondered, if it did become a reality, would it be good? And now, ladies and gentlemen, it finally is a reality. So we will see, hands down, if this is going to be a good decision by Activision to allow these development teams to, I guess, all work on the same game, but in their own specific sections. I will say, my biggest concern about this overall scenario, well, my first biggest concern is that it's a DLC being charged for $70, but I guess my second biggest concern is, will the game still have one single identity? It's already rough enough for me thinking that this game won't have an identity because it is a placeholder title, That was my biggest issue with Vanguard, is that it didn't feel like I had much passion behind it. It might have had the content to back it up, it might have the changes for the community to back it up, but it felt like a game that didn't have any inspiration nor passion. It felt like Infinity Ward made it, but it had Sledgehammer's name on the box. That was one thing that, even though I didn't care for World War II in the beginning, and Advanced Warfare was the first and only Call of Duty game I've ever sold, the one thing I can respect about those games is that they felt like Sledgehammer designed them. It didn't feel like Infinity Ward made it. It didn't feel like Treyarch made it. It felt like Sledgehammer. They formed their own path within Call of Duty, whereas Vanguard felt exactly like Infinity Ward, and I'm assuming that Modern Warfare 3, to me, it looks like a mix of Infinity Ward and Treyarch, but still not an identity for Sledgehammer. So I'm already worried enough that this game won't have an identity, and it'll feel like an Infinity Ward, cloned game. On top of that, now I'm a little worried that there might not be an identity because all these different teams are designing something on their own. It's not really like, I guess it is still a connected project. They're all on the same page, but if they're all solely working on one thing, I'm worried that their ideas, their, concepts, their everything is going to be far too different between each section of the game, instead of, one team designing one, idea for this title, one passion for this title, and then, you might have Infinity Ward come in as support, or, Sledgehammer come in as support, or Treyarch come in as support, Raven come in as support, whoever. It's not like that. Like, this is literally going to be a game made by 3 different development teams who are all focusing on their own part of the game. It might have 3 different identities. The campaign might play massively different or feel massively different from the multiplayer, whereas zombies might feel massively different from the campaign, or, multiplayer might feel different from the zombies, and it just won't feel like one game. It's going to feel like too many different things. Again, it probably won't happen. I'm assuming that this won't be a problem, but I just want to bring it up because it is a concern of mine. I would be lying if I, didn't say it was a concern, because it still is a very realistic possibility. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it up to you down in the comment section to leave your opinions down below on what you think is personally happening with this game. Do you think it's a good idea that they're going ahead and doing this? Do you think it's a bad idea? And if you do think it's a good idea, do you want to see this for future titles? Do you want to see all games be completely shared, completely balanced out between all development teams? Or do you want one team to take, the full idea, the full passion, all control, and have other teams come in and assist, bits and pieces here and there, wherever they're welcome? But as always, don't forget, leave a like if you enjoyed today's video, leave a dislike if you hated it. Also, subscribe, hit that bell. We post daily here, ladies and gentlemen, every single day at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. Call of Duty, X-Defiant, anything between, commentaries, live gameplay, comparisons, whatever you can think of, we post it up on this channel. And last but not least, as always, we do stream every day besides Sundays over on Kick. Again, we'll be playing GTA today. Usually, we try to grind out some COD, some OG CODs on Saturdays, and we branch off to different titles. But man, during this drought, not really many games to play. I'm waiting for X-Defiant. And, Modern Warfare 3 beta, obviously, for the channel. But until then, I think GTA is going to be the vibe. So if you guys want to see that live and in action and hang out with me, if you have a PC and you want to hop into our parties, you guys can catch the link to all of that stuff down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.